Okay, this is Debbie DuBois, and I'm going to do a reading right now for the Divine Masculine. I did a reading for the Divine Feminine several days ago, and it was pretty powerful, and I had several people request that I do the same for the Divine Masculine, and here it is. I have pulled some cards, and once again, the information in these cards are extremely powerful. For some reason, over the last couple of days, I've just become so very connected to what is going on. I did a live Facebook video, you can find it on my YouTube channel, that addresses so much of what's happening right now in the sacred partnership, twin flame connection, in relationships. And now here is a reading for the Divine Masculine. Okay, the first card that came up was the Moon, okay? And the Moon symbolizes the feminine energy, okay? Let me just get something here. Let me see, where is it? Hang on, bear with me here. All right, we're talking about the feminine aspects of intuition and emotion, all right? The nurturing aspects of the Divine Feminine, and this is the opportunity that the Divine Masculine has right now to work on their relationship with nurturing. And I said this in my video yesterday. The self-care that is necessary for the masculine right now is off the charts. And so the reading starts out basically saying that the Divine Masculine is learning to bring forth its nurturing aspect. And this is going to create the balance that they need. Now, what that has done is, if you look at the next card, is the Nine of Swords. Now, interestingly enough, the Nine of Swords came up in the Divine Feminine reading as well. And the Nine of Swords is about anxiety, unresolved issues, and insomnia. So what's happening is, as the shift is taking place for the Divine Masculine, they are also feeling the anxiety, having to deal with these unresolved issues. They are having a hard time sleeping, and these are worries that keep someone awake. So these are issues that need to be looked at more closely. The fear and the anxiety and the guilt and all of this stuff is what needs to be released, all right? In order for the Divine Masculine to actually move forward, they have to deal with those things that are keeping them up at night. And those things are being caused by the fact that the Divine Feminine aspects in them are getting stronger. So the next card that had flown out of the deck at me was the Two of Cups. And we know that cups are emotions, and we know that cups are love. And in this particular sense, what we're talking about is, as the Divine feminine energy starts to press forward in the masculine, there is a greater movement in the direction of harmony, partnership, and love. Okay? But it's the integration of their masculine and feminine aspects within themselves. Okay? So yes, it's partnership, but in this particular case, even more than, we're talking about outside relationships, it's the need to balance that feminine masculine energy within themselves. Because we talk about the ability to create the harmony of the feminine and masculine balances, to remove the patriarchal and matriarchal energies. Those are the programs that came in, and what is left standing is those divine feminine and masculine qualities within the self that propels them forward to be able to do what they came here to do. Now, I found this fascinating that the next two cards are, I want to say something that's typically On the left is power, which if you think of power, you think of typically masculine energies. And on the right, you see love, which is typically thought of as feminine energies. And they're right dab smack here in the middle of this reading. And what I want to go, I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to look at Freya. And that's a number 4. Okay. Let's see here. That is power. All right. Let me see. Hello, power. Okay, now this is a card of leadership, of wisdom, and of authority. And those are very divine masculine traits, but not from a patriarchal standpoint. Okay, so as the divine masculine starts letting go of and purging the patriarchal masculine energies, they become the link between the old world where power is often expressed in violence, instead expressed through diplomacy and tolerance, where the old energies were, confrontation and criticizing and judging, to the new energies of acceptance, expression of truth, and standing in one's power in that way. Okay, so it shows that the true power lies in the ability to discriminate between aggression and passivity. There is a gray area, divine masculine. It's not one or the other. Okay, so this is about the ability to use power wisely and becoming more aware of the power, which means taking on the responsibility of literally staying in that vibration of wisdom, knowing when to say something, knowing when to hold back something, is the wisdom and conscious awareness, instead of, I want to say, throwing out whatever is, on the tip of one's tongue, but to be able to hold the power of the wisdom and to know how to work the system, the power system, the power grid, without giving up important values and resorting to violence or deception or demeaning or, the negative outlying expressions of power, which is what is happening with a lot of the masculine right now. As they start purging the patriarchal, what you're going to find out is they're going to say some of the most incredible things. And I've been witnessing it even in my own home. It's unspeakable sometimes what comes out of the divine masculine, patriarchal masculine energies in my very own home. It's like the feminine their jaw drops and says, did he just say that? So it's very important to know that this is what's happening in this shift, in this purging period, is the power is becoming, I want to say, the true power is coming to fruition, but we have to go through the purging of the other. And the consciousness of the masculine is going to more and more and more begin to not tolerate his own expressions of that patriarchal masculine. All right. Now we're talking on the other side with the love, which is the Venus card. Okay, and that is more about the harmony and passion and sexuality of a being. So you've got this balancing going on. It's almost like through the ability to come into one's own masculine, divine masculine powers and to let go of the patriarchal masculine false power, there is the outcome of the love and the sexuality and the balance. So it becomes an increased awareness of the nature of passionate love, okay? The expression of artistic creativity through that love, all right? It's the integration within oneself of the masculine and feminine, the God and the goddess. And that is the sacred union within self. So that goes right up again to that Two of Cups card. It's the integration of the divine feminine masculine. This is showing up in so many of these cards. I just could not believe the power of the confirmation of these cards with what is resonating inside of my heart and what the message was of my video yesterday. And you know, they do say that we create our own reality, and these cards are a testament to the fact that they are my permission slips to express what I know. But you know, when you think about the number of cards that are in a deck and the cards that we could have pulled here, it's fascinating. The Nine of Swords cards in the middle of this reading, and then look at the Nine of Staves. Both of these cards were present in the two power love positions in my Divine Feminine reading. So there's this cross, this holy cross that's sitting here in the middle of this reading. Let's go look at what's this Nine of Staves, okay? Let me see here. So we're looking at the Nine of Staves. And the Nine of Staves is about responsibility, separation, and exhaustion. Okay, so while the Divine Feminine has been feeling the responsibility of carrying, the clearing, and the deep emotional work that's gone on, what they haven't necessarily seen, because many of you Divine Feminine have not been in touch with physically the Divine Masculine. You know, you probably see it around you if you tune into it, but if you're focusing on, you know, a specific, I want to say the carrot at the end of the stick, masculine, and that's not meant any disrespect in that way, but if you have been focusing on that, you know, you're maybe not seeing the fact that they are feeling the exact same way. So they are carrying the feelings of the responsibility. They are feeling the separation from the true fifth dimensional and higher connection that they have with their sacred partner or whoever they have connected with. And they're exhausted from this journey, and they're not really sure exactly how to move forward. And it came out in the Facebook Live that I did yesterday. A very strong word comes to mind for the Divine Masculine that resonates with me 100%. And that is the patriarchal masculine that's even still inside of me, that I identify with these Divine Masculine who are trying to purge this patriarchal masculine, and that word is obligation. So being in the situation where they've been programmed, where you Divine Masculine have been programmed to be so responsible and obligated to those around you. I mean, if you go back to the thinking of all of the great men, you know, the great male stereotypical, you know, you think of the Vikings, and you think of, you know, the even the American Indians, the indigenous people. The men have had to be so strong, and they're the ones that are the providers, and they're the ones that, you know, there's this total programming that is still existent in the patriarchal system, which says that the masculine is obligated to those in their life to make sure that those people are cared for, that they're not abandoned. And what ends up happening is they believe that if they don't care for if they try to care for themselves, or they put themselves first in any shape or form, that they are somehow being a bad person, that they are somehow being selfish, that there is something wrong with them. So here this card sits in this reading at the root of this funnel. And this belief system of the obligation has left them extremely tired, extremely exhausted, feeling the responsibility and the burden of those around them. When what is really happening is that feeling is creating them to see their reality that way, so that they see that they are needed, and they tell themselves the stories in what they see around them, how desperately needy people are of them, when in fact it is merely a projection. And this is key, it's a projection of their own belief systems. So truth is if they drop the belief system that everybody needs them around them and is needy of them and cannot survive without them, if they're able to drop that belief system, they will realize the folly of it. Those people around them are strong people that could easily do for themselves and be fine without them. But they don't see that because of their belief system. So this exhaustion, it's almost like you have to get to a place of exhaustion and exasperation, and I can't do this anymore, for you to literally have to have that catalytic experience of, falling out, maybe falling down and being sick, and seeing that other people move right on and are able to take care of you and are able to do things. So I'm not really sure, but each of the divine masculine is going to, in their own way, be shown this. They're going to experience this. They have to, because this disillusion, it's an illusion that everyone needs you, divine masculine. That is an illusion that is created by a set of programs, and you are projecting it outward and seeing it in primarily the relationships around you, a lot of which are parental relationships or marital partnerships or sister partnerships or family relationships. These people all need you because you believe that they do. And that's very, very important for you, divine masculine, to understand, because it is key. Once you understand the folly of the obligation, that all these people are not going to be okay without you. It's so weird, because I know divine masculine right now that are ready to say, I step back, I can't do this anymore. And you know what? That might be the absolute best thing that happens, because if you do, you will actually create in your reality. You'll look around and you'll go, wow, put your finger in a glass of water and pull it out and see how dispensable or indispensable you are. You'll find out that all those people around you that you thought needed you so much are going to go right on their merry way and maybe even thrive better without your projection onto them that they need you. This is coming out of programs of obligation, responsibility. It's leaving the divine masculine and patriarchal masculine exhausted. So this is just an important part for you to know. And it's the fear and anxiety, it's riding right above that. That fear and anxiety comes from the knowledge that that is true. It's trying to show you. And the thing is that the balance in that right there is, what is this for? It's to teach you how to come into your true power, to where you balance that feminine masculine energy with wisdom, and then you are able to share in the greatest love and expression of your sexuality, of your total open-hearted lovingness, your creative expression. All of this is just sitting right there. This is where the divine masculine is at. Now let's look at the outcome. The cups again. This time it's the Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups symbolizes the different aspects of the path to life. In this case, we're looking at, goddesses. So we're talking about the young goddess, the middle-aged goddess, and then the older goddess, and the different levels of perception, perspectives that they have from a loving standpoint. But we're translating this into divine masculine. So let's just see here. The outcome of all of this, once that change the recognition of that false belief system of the obligation happens, and the work is done to release those programs of obligation and the self-perception that that you're supposed to be doing all of this, and if you don't do this, you're not a good person. Once we can get beyond that divine masculine, then what you're ending up with is a celebration. Okay, the celebration and the joy that's locked within you. A lot of joy that I see right now in the masculine is, I want to say it's a forced joy. It's a joy that is sometimes not even happy joy, but expressed as aggressive joy or silly joy, as opposed to true heartfelt joy and happiness. There's a great celebration coming, and it really is, when we talk about this, for the masculine, it's going to be a piece between that familial generations of the different expressions of the masculine, because the masculine that are coming are not as heavily laid with these programs. It's still appearing in the younger ones and the ones that are in their late teens. They're still feeling obligated to their families and things of that nature, but they're also, you know, it's that typical youth rebellion that this is very important to me, that I stand in my own power, in my own center, and that I don't let my families and my obligations, you know, run the show, and try to balance that also with trying to be there as a good son or as a good masculine counterpart and things of that nature. So the different generations of the masculine, a lot of the patriarchal, purely patriarchal, have already passed over. They were the ones that were totally asleep, the ones that just ran on those programs, and they were the ones that taught the divine masculine what it looked like to be a good man. And it is a lot of what the divine masculine measures himself against. Am I a good man? Well, let me look at my father, and what does my father symbolize? Well, unfortunately, they were sleeping, and all the traits that they showed were just the traits that they carried based on the point of the time, you know, the time arc of time where they happen to come in. It doesn't mean that they're any less you know, on a soul level, but the persona, the person that they came in, when we look to that, the guidance that we got is here's the example of what the perfect man looks like. And then some of you didn't have some of the divine masculine didn't have that at all. Some of you didn't even have a father. So, and then it was kind of like, you know, you weren't really sure. You know, some of those people who didn't have fathers, in fact, it's interesting because I do know of someone that's very close to me that was his situation. No father. Well, guess what? He became the mother. So much of the divine masculine right now was imprinted upon by the relationship or the way they perceived the father figure or lack of father figure, and created these obligation templates and patterns that are needing to be broken. So in this card, we're talking about the generations, and the divine masculine right now, what they're doing is they're leveling out that playing field, changing the arc of time, and creating the actual existence of the divine masculine in place of that patriarchal. Then the celebration can begin. And it's interesting here because it says possibly a wedding feast. A wedding feast in the merging and balancing of the divine feminine and masculine within themselves. Because divine feminine, as much as you wish to be in union in a sacred partnership, until the divine masculine gets to this place where he is in perfect balance, masculine and feminine, and has their own ability to nurture and care for themselves, has their own ability to create joy within themselves. All of those things have to happen before they can actually come into the kind of connection and union that you wish to be in. Okay? So This process is something that the masculine has to go through. I would say that the way to support that is to give them the space that they need to do what they need to do. Etherically, physically, emotionally, spiritually, give them space. Send them love. Be understanding. Choose to look at the things that you don't prefer as stepping stones to what you do prefer. Go into your heart in the deepest love that you can and have the love and the compassion from your deepest soul to put them ahead of your own need for union with them, because they cannot do it until they do their work. Divine Masculine, you don't even want this connection until you do your work. This is where we're all moving. 2018 is a big year. There is no such thing as having to put a time on shifts and changes. Time is an illusion. Miracles are the collapse of the illusion. These shifts and changes can happen in an instant, or they can take as long as it takes by your resistance to truth. So embrace the truth of where you're at. Make your choices and your decisions to let go of old programming so that you can move into the joy and the celebration and the expectations of all of the beauty that is available for you in the new energies of 2018. I really hope that this message penetrates into the consciousness of the Divine Masculine, that they hear the truth and that they embodiment of all that they can be. Namaste.